Transmigrated as a disabled protagonist, how should I continue the script? Chapter 29, Danger Warning. A young man, wrapped in a winter coat and wearing earmuffs, suddenly let out a sound of surprise. He looked in the direction of the floor-to-ceiling window. The setting sun outside, the city covered in a faint mist, with clouds shifting unpredictably, could only be admired from the tallest building in the entire city, almost as if one could control the city itself. Rando-kun, it's a bit impolite to be distracted when a guest has traveled from afar. Mori Ogai, dressed in a formal suit, wearing white gloves, spoke with elegance and composure. He sat on the top seat of the Port Mafia, representing its leader, having taken this position before the age of 30. By his side stood Rando, the sub-executive in charge of serving as his personal bodyguard. At the Port Mafia headquarters, sitting in the large unobstructed room, the guests are quite small. There sat a figure dressed in a black felt hat, black suit, and black leather baby shoes. He sat on a luxurious armchair, a lock of hair curling at his temple, with a chubby face that, despite his size, did not seem overly miniature. His aura was overwhelming. The world's #1 assassin, the Vongala family's exclusive home tutor, personally visited the Port Mafia. Such an act in the world could be seen as a form of acknowledgement for the Port Mafia, because regardless of whether Mori Ogai was willing to admit it or not, the gap between the Port Mafia and the Vongala family was immense at this point. The era creates heroes, but there are few families that can endure the twists of time and still stand tall. The Vongala family, though not as formidable in the present as in the past, showing signs of decline as the sun sets in the west, still possesses a new flame of inheritance that other families envy. No one could resist the desire to have such a legacy spanning hundreds of years. Reborn's gaze rested on Boss Mori's bodyguard, and he casually remarked, noting the individual's peculiar fear of cold even in the hottest season, "It's fine, maybe there's something important going on." Is there really something important? Mori Ogai felt that what Reborn mentioned, regarding Rando, was somewhat dissatisfactory. Rando quickly collected himself and bowed in apology. "Boss, I have failed in my duties." Mori Ogai didn't pursue the matter further, merely let out a small tapped Rando on the shoulder, and continued listening to Reborn, who was visiting on behalf of the Vongala family. Reborn said, "The Vongala family's members have entered Yokohama only to search for a missing intelligence officer. Even the Decimo successors have already arrived." Rando suddenly drew a sharp breath, which did not escape the notice of the two men standing close by. Mori Ogai's smile turned slightly dangerous. "Rando? You're a prospective executive, are you not thinking of officially becoming one in the future?" Rando, with his foreigner-like appearance, seemed even colder. Sweat rolled down his forehead, his lips turning a bluish-white from the chill as he blankly stared out the window, muttering, "The other side of Surabachi Street." Mori Ogai and Reborn simultaneously looked toward the floor-to-ceiling window. Reborn, who had already studied the map of Yokohama beforehand, recognized the name of a location where a massive explosion occurred after the war had ended. It was a basin-like area, a place formed in a deep pit, Surabachi Street. At this moment, a straight column of black smoke soared to the sky from the distant Surabachi Street. The clouds were torn apart. A deep red, high-density energy exploded. The Special Division's energy monitoring equipment sounded alarms. Division members rushed to work overtime, and members from the Port Mafia Division in various locations around Yokohama also reported the incident. Eventually, the report reached Mori Ogai's phone, which was vibrating in his pocket. Mori Ogai took it out and, in the quickest time, flipped through the report. "The Sheep King has gone mad in Surabachi Street." Finally, a piece of news, coming from Tezuka Osamu himself, using a cruel sentence to reveal the reason. Reborn was quite interested in the events happening in Yokohama City, but Mori Ogai had no intention of actively sharing. The two sides come to an agreement. The Port Mafia would courteously host the Vongala family members, while the Vongala family would not interfere with local matters in Yokohama City. Once they found the missing intelligence personnel, they had to leave. Under the watchful eyes of the Port Mafia members, Reborn walked away from this building representing power, his mouth curling into a smile. A green lizard quietly clung to the edge of his hat, its large reptilian eyes exuding a cold-blooded, sinister aura. He sat in his car and answered the phone, placing it next to his ear. Chaosu. Hibari, what did you see in Suribachi Street? That's right, Reborn had made arrangements for each family's candidate, and for the belligerent Hibari Kyoya, the plan was very simple: throw him into the most suitable battlefield. Suribachi Street. Hibari Kyoya, being in this turbulent area, was very satisfied with the overall fierce and wild nature of Suribachi Street, especially during his conquest of his new territory, where he witnessed something beyond reality. A black-haired, single phoenix-eyed youth was half leaning on the ground, using his hand to steady himself, slightly moving forward. The wind ahead howled wildly, and an immense energy explosion occurred, terrifying the residents of Suribachi Street. Most of them had originally moved here from other parts of Suribachi, and the explosion that had swept through the city years ago left a deep psychological shadow. He raised his head to look at the boy whipping through the air in a violent state and, with a tone of concealed excitement, said, "I saw a creature radiating dark red light, a carnivore, and a few other strange people. The reason it's strange is that, despite being in such close proximity to the explosion, the room was completely destroyed, yet several people remained unharmed, as if that energy, which could shatter crimson rocks, wasn't so powerful." Rokudo Mukuro's position was a mystery due to his real and fake illusions, and Dazai Osamu was immune to the energy. Aside from these two, the third person, Yakimaru, was standing behind Dazai Osamu, shielded from the full impact by, no longer human. Rokudo Mukuro's real body let out a faint cry of pain, reluctantly moving away from the unconscious Ken and Chikusa. Most of his mental consciousness was still battling within Nakaharachiya's body. Rather than calling it a battle, it was more of a one-sided defeat. He was unable to focus his attention on the strange Dazai Osamu. The god of calamity's power was fully awakening, making him feel as though a bomb inside him was about to explode. No, if this continues, I must abandon this contractor. Mental contamination. Blood flowed from Rokudo Mukuro's eye of the 6 paths of reincarnation. His mind, polluted and occupied by corruption, prevented him from severing the connection in time. However, due to the illusionist's power, Nakaharachiya's rampage was greatly suppressed. Although the surface of his skin was covered with numerous contaminated streaks, it had not yet reached the point of instantly tearing his body apart. The human-shaped body acts as a shield. It is the consciousness of mankind, sinking in the filthy abyss, emitting roars like a wild beast. The black beast inside the human body goes berserk, reaching the peak of violence, gradually breaking free from the restraints placed upon it. Outwardly, this manifests as the boy's eyes turning into slits, and his breathing growing heavier. A monster? An evil being? A bizarre ability? Dazai Osamu's mind processed various speculations as he took a step back, leaving the opportunity to fight to Yakimaru. He had long noticed Yakimaru's ability to see things that couldn't be perceived in the context of killing, and Yakimaru's persistent attempts to kill Nakaharachiya likely indicated that he had seen something about Nakaharachiya's internal situation. Yakimaru, he has lost control. Whether you want to save him or kill him, it's up to you. The black coat complemented the young boy's immature face, calm and unperturbed, with a chilling indifference. Just like when he witnessed Mori Ogai scheming to assassinate the previous boss, cooperating with those in black without a trace of anxiety, he did not think of himself as a good person, nor did he find anything wrong with being a bystander. Only him. He would not allow anyone to use him as a model or an object of imitation. It was just that as he gazed into Yakimaru's pupils, his eyes held a trace of childlike innocence, curious about what would happen next, while his intelligent mind had already deduced the outcome. Yakimaru did not disappoint him, dazed as he stared at Chuya on the other side. The high ponytail and yukata were blown by the wind, fluttering, while large bandages on his body marked the past scars. That part of him, the innate kindness of a human, seemed to disappear from the black-haired boy, replaced by the determined will of hunting the demon god. I'm truly sorry. Watching you being consumed by the power of the demon god, I wrongly blamed you for so long. You must be a person of unwavering determination, born into chaotic times, with the demon god clinging to you for so long. The life flame you've ignited has only carried a modest amount of killing, not even comparable to the bandit leader. Yakimaru, under the intense, vast killing intent, grabbed his right arm and pulled it out of the joint. Rest in peace. I will. With all my strength, release your life flame from the filth. After the black-haired boy's arm was removed, the illusion covering the prosthetic disappeared, revealing the warrior's sword once again. With both hands discarded on the ground, guarded by Dororo, his body shot forward like an arrow towards his own battlefield, with no hesitation as he went to subdue the monster. Because of what he lost and because of the mission entrusted to him by the world of Dororo, only the burning flame of the demon god remained in his heart. Tezuka Osamu unconsciously smiled. Humans. They always manage to break the norm, face hardships, and pursue their goals even at the cost of their lives. He glanced with his peripheral vision at the stranger approaching. The person's almond-shaped eyes showed no fear, only respect for power and a desire for battle, as if proving how many people in this world were unwilling to accept their fate. Life should be vibrant, not overshadowed by the brilliance of others. Tezuka Osamu sat down on a step, using his phone to contact the special division. Selling information to two sides and reaping benefits from both, is that the true perk of being an undercover agent? This little dwarf. His background is definitely not simple. Arahabaki. Huh. Deep within Yakimaru's spirit, in a place where neither the illusionist nor a mental ability user could reach, a gray pop-up suddenly lit up for a moment, emitting a dangerous warning sound. Support system version redacted online, high danger warning. Mission auto reminder feature activated. Feature forcefully unlocking for 1 minute. Reminder to the intern, if the enemy surpasses your handling range, the energy value and energy attributes calculated equal the high-ranking demon god of the Dororo world, please evacuate, please evacuate. Evacuation failed. Activating all potential within the intern host's body, successfully triggering the hidden, Child of Heaven, setting. Activated the power of the demon god's one-time protection, purification power. Evil will never defeat justice. Please continue to persevere. At this moment, the effectiveness of the contract appeared. The support system self-provided the support for the intern, and after its completion, all functions were deactivated. The purification power emerged, instantly cleansing the life flame of Yakimaru, which had been polluted by the demon god's power. Even though it was just a brief moment of lightness, it moved him to the brink of tears. Survived, mission accomplished. His belief had never been so unwavering, aligning his fate and will together to conquer the god of calamity. After enduring numerous failures, Yakimaru continued to wield his sword with his body. The light invisible to the naked eye surged from the flame of life within him, constantly adding to his being, making him seem like a deity, using divine power to oppose a god. After breaking through Arahabaki's defensive force, his incomplete body delivered a strike in midair, using every ounce of his strength. Even a weak sparrow can unleash the strength to ambush a mighty eagle. From the ultimate counterattack of life itself, as the destiny of the heavenly child rose to strike down the demon god, Yakimaru stepped into the moment of utmost peril, nearing death. Tezuka Osamu's expression grew tense, preparing to rush forward and seal Arahabaki. A single sword stroke was unleashed. The dark red energy was cleaved apart. With a sword on par with a warrior's arm, an ordinary blade cut through the boundary between man and god. The youth, trapped in the chaotic battle, half his body stained in blood, his beast-like eyes narrowed. His face, covered in streaks of silver, seemed to show a hint of release as he fell from midair, gaining a fleeting moment of clarity amidst his chaotic thoughts. Calamity God. Also have a nemesis. Too great. There's no need to destroy this land anymore, no need for the vicious black beast to slaughter everyone. Nakaharachuya's consciousness faded into darkness. After leaping from above, Yakimaru landed on the ground, his limbs scattering upon impact. Blades became his hands, prosthetics became his legs. His eyes did not take in the world, instead he was deeply immersed within the support system of his mind. The most significant change was the tiny progress shown in the fixed mission channel on top of his tasks. A small progress bar was born. The support system, based on the power unleashed by both sides, mechanically determined that a demon god had been successfully subdued. Main quest: subjugate the 12 demon gods, 1/12. Transmigrate department: you are not even as reliable as your own support system. Not long after. Summoned by the government, Yosano Akiko arrived at the scene, hands on her hips, wielding a large broadsword, standing atop her high-heeled shoes. She looked so ferocious, as if she was about to jump into Suribachi Street and tear people apart limb by limb. Who here needs treatment? Dazai Osamu, with a troubled expression, squatted beside 3 people and said, "Sorry, Miss Yosano, they all do." From the ruins beside them, Joshima Ken and Kakimoto Chikusa were excavated, as well as a self-isolating futa, but let's not mention that for now. Of those mainly involved here, Yakimaru couldn't move, Nakahara Chuya was gravely injured, near death, and Rokudo Mukuro's spirit was severely wounded. One could say it was mutual destruction between friend and foe, only lacking someone to finish them off. Unfortunately, Yakimaru hoped that Nakahara Chuya would survive. Yosano Akiko was the first to check on the shattered Yakimaru, ignoring Nakahara Chuya and Rokudo Mukuro. As a doctor, she furiously addressed the family of the severely disabled patient. "Why didn't you protect him?" Dazai Osamu silently recalled the combat strength of the 3. As weak as he was, he only had the ability, no longer human, again today. Chapter 29 End.